Hello, everyone. Welcome to Prem Connection. That's right. You know, Thursday is my favorite time of the week because I spend most of my day on Radio Zindagi. I start with the show in the lunchtime, which is on a completely different theme, and then I move on to this one. And this is another fun, exciting show that we are bringing to you. I have my partner in crime, Kamal Auntie, and I'm Renu Auntie from Prem Connection. And we started our show last week, which was our premiere show. We had an amazing response. So thank you to all those who tuned in and listened to us. And we promise we're going to be here every Thursday evening, 7 o'clock. So it's a date. If you don't have a date, don't worry. This is our date with you. Prem Connection every Thursdays on Radio Zindagi. So I'd like to begin, of course, by always thanking Radio Zindagi for giving us an opportunity and a platform to bring something new to the community. And my favorite RJ, who's decided to disappear today, but Ira. Special thanks to her always for staying out late to bring our show to you. For those who don't know, Prem Connection is actually going to be a new matrimonial matchmaking agency. I'd rather not call it matrimonial because nowadays I'm not sure if everybody wants to get married, right? We all want to have a companion in life. We all want to have partnership, life partners, friend, whatever you want to call it, not necessarily husband or wife. So Prem Connection is going to be that service that is going to help bringing people together. And we've had so many requests, people asking us, when are you going to start? When are you going to start? Relax, guys. We're building our website. It's going to be a Tamaka website, I promise you. And that's going to be launched at the end of October. But until then, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and we can start at least looking for you, just send us a message on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook. That's Renu Dillon, not Renu Auntie on Facebook. And you have Kamal Gill as well. And we'll be very happy to start the conversation with you. On that note, let's begin our show today. So Prem Connection's tagline is creating your story. And every week we're going to be bringing people on that will share their story because that's their story. Everyone has a story to share. And today we brought a wonderful gentleman. His name is Karan Singh. He goes by Guinea, but I'm going to call him Karan because I always like to call people by their birth name, but I know he goes by Guinea. And he is going to share his personal story, a very beautiful story that he's going to share from his heart. And I hope you're all going to be tuned in. And as we all know, in love, when you're in love and when you're in relationships, some of us sometimes suffer losses. And there are some losses that are in your control, such as a divorce. When you go through a divorce, that's in your control. But when you lose someone, which is not in your control, that's a different kind of a loss that people will endure. And we wanted to talk about that because it's hard sometimes to move on. And how do you move on? And very few people are able to come on air and talk about this. So again, thanks, Karan, for really accepting our invitation to come on and talk about your story. So with that, I'm going to move this show over to my co-host, Sheena Dillon. She refuses to be called Sheena Auntie or Sheena Didi because Sheena Didi is used at Genius Kids. So that's Sheena Dillon and, of course, Kamal Auntie, who are going to be talking to Karan about his story. And I'll be stepping in every now and then because I'll be giving my 2 cents worth as an auntie. So on that note, welcome, Karan, and take it from here, ladies.
Thank you, Renu.
Hi. Good evening, Karan. How are you?
Good evening, Kamal. I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. And we'll begin with a question which may be a little painful right now. We want to know, and I think the audience would like to know, how did you meet your first wife?
I'm not married yet, so my only wife that I've met. I met her at a. It's okay. And by the way, I want to say thank you very much for having me out here, guys. This is an honor to be here to share my story. I met her at a Loney College in Fremont. We met at a math class,
How did your love story begin in the math class?
I noticed her.
I wasn't studying. I guess you were not doing right.
It's an interesting story, I actually noticed her a year prior on campus and like, damn, this girl looks good. And she ended up being in my class and we exchanged numbers really, really quickly because you know how study groups and all that stuff, study for the exam. And So we just exchanged numbers, and I think that was really our beginning of our love story. And we never stopped talking ever since. And surprisingly, she was, she was a math whiz before me. So I got a C plus and she got a C minus in that class because of me. So yeah.
Did that happen?
Yeah, that happened. Yep.
So how did you continue on with your love story after this?
We were together for a very long time. We started dating each other when we were 18 years old. It was the first year in college, just right out of high school. We dated. She ended up going to Davis, and I went to San Jose State. We stayed connected. I'm not gonna, I want to be as vulnerable as possible. There were a lot of ups and downs. It wasn't, now we're talking my story here.
Oh, I think we lost Karan.
Connection there.
There you go. Back.
Yeah, you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, these
Go ahead,
online
no
things
problem.
we had a lot of ups and downs, but we stuck it out. And she went to Davis, I went to San Jose State, and after 10 years of being together, we got married in 2014.
Mhm.
So you dated for how many years, you said?
What was that?
How long did you date for?
We dated for 10 years.
Oh,
Before
wow.
getting married.
That's a long time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, didn't live together though, but we dated for 10 years.
In my and Kamal's time, we dated for 10 minutes.
Yeah, mine was less.
Yeah.
Yeah, ours was under 10 minutes. Yeah.
Well, when you know, right? 10 minutes is enough, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
So what happened after you got married?
So she actually got diagnosed with cancer prior to marriage. She got diagnosed in 2011. She was in her, I believe she was 24, 25 years old when she got diagnosed with it. 25. In April of 2011 is when she got diagnosed. It was a brain tumor on the left side of her hemisphere. As a brainstem tumor, and it affected the right side of her body. So she went into surgery in 2011 and lost movement on the right side completely. Lost her speech was slurred. She couldn't speak. She couldn't eat. She could barely walk. She lost a lot of strength in her right side, and ended up eventually affecting her left side. But she stuck with it, and we got married in 14, and she gained all of her strength back. She got her speech back. She went to therapy. Just a resilient mindset. She danced on her own wedding.
Wow.
So yeah. So, and she was in college. She was a part of a lot of Bhangra. She was part of Bhangra and the teams there. Even after she was diagnosed, when she went through all this craziness in her life, when she gained her strength back, she continued to dance and also coached kids. She taught math at statistics at Mission High School, Fremont.
Wow. Fantastic.
What was her name?
Sharon. Her name was
Sharon.
Sharon.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you still proceeded to go ahead and get married, even though you had found out that she'd been diagnosed with cancer and she had gone through the surgery. You both still proceeded to get married.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Commendable. Yeah.
I mean, she would have done 10 times more for me. I don't think there was any question in mind, especially when you're dating somebody for that long, and there's love, and sometimes there was understanding, sometimes there wasn't. That's how relationships work. But there was an underlying current that that kept us together, the glue, the love that was always there. And I didn't even think it was a thought. I'm not trying to say I'm some big person here, but she would have done the same thing for me. If I was in that situation.
You're very young to have suffered such a loss, and I'm very sorry. And I know you personally as well, so I am very sorry for your loss. But how have you dealt with the grief, and how have you begun to move forward afterwards?
Well, it's kind of interesting because, now that I'm sharing my story, and you're probably thinking, oh, it's probably really crazy. You were married to this person who had a brain tumor. She couldn't walk. She had to gain her strength back. But while I was with her and everybody can attest to this that known her in her life here. I just never thought that she was going to die, you know, because her persona, you know, in Punjabi we say chardi kala, you know, the high spirit. It was just there. I mean, I don't know if it was a switch that went off, and she exuberated that energy. And when she first got it, a lot of the friends were like asking, "Oh, what happened?" Blah blah blah. And then when she recovered back, it was like people forgot about it because she never brought it up. And that's just the way she lived her life. So it was very tough. It was tough when it happened, but as time progressed, she just embodied this like high spirit inside where nobody really felt that she was going to die. So when it happened, even though I knew there's a prognosis and they said she was going to go in 5 years, she ended up living 7 years. It was very hard. It was like, you know, if I had to put it metaphorically, it was like, you know, I like have this hut, you know, on the bottom of a hill, and avalanche has come down and took everything with it. And I come out of my hut and I have no tools to rebuild my house, you know. It was kind of like that kind of a feeling, you know, and it was tough. It was really tough. And I feel like if a lot of love around me, the support that I had really, really helped me. And I'm going to talk about something that I think a lot, I took grief therapy. I did one-on-one grief therapy for one year. And also group therapy for 6 to 7 months, which is also like, it's grief therapy, but it's group grief therapy. I feel like it really, I would say it helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm. So you would point out to those two things that really helped you, you know, move on?
Not just those things. I feel like they were a factor for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I would just say God's grace, you know, like I mentioned, you know, with her, how she embodied this high spirit, it came from somewhere. It was definitely God's grace. And I feel like that has been what's helped me. And definitely the blessings that I have around me, the loved ones that I have, my family, her family, you know, we're like blood sister brothers. And now, because, you know, we've shared death together, they're always going to be my family. And I'll talk about the girl that I met now. We'll talk about her in a second. But, you know, I feel like everybody's path is different. And I just want to say to the listeners that, you know, this is I was sharing this with Reno earlier, that this is very sacred to me. You know, I'm really here to just maybe share a few things, and maybe somebody might walk away with something, but I think everybody's journey is different. And yes, and to answer back to you, grief therapy helped me a lot.
Good.
Did you go through a time, Karan, after she passed away? I know I have some friends that have gone through some losses, and they just feel they just can't move on. They feel guilty that I can't do this again, you know, and they're young enough. Did you go through that phase?
Absolutely. That guilty feeling is, it was very strong at first, you know, and even though we're living in America, and on top of that, yeah, we're an Indian society, but I'm a guy, right? And I was in my early 30s, so it's probably not that hard for me as far as what society thinks of me, you know, but even then it was still, you feel that guiltiness when it was definitely evident, you know, there. But I would say grief therapy was definitely a big one for me. And I traveled a lot that year. Some people might not like traveling. You know, there's homebodies or introverts or different kinds of people out there. But traveling really helped me. I traveled, and I chose to travel with people that I had a really deep connection with, and that I could pretty much share anything with. And those people are, you know, I could count them on my fingers. And those are the people that I really traveled with, you know, just loved ones. And that helped as well. It helped as well. And another thing that helped me was journaling, because the guilt that was there, like I'd mentioned to you in the beginning when we were younger, I don't think I was the best boyfriend. I don't think I was the best fiance. you know. I don't think I was the best husband either. I think we all, and that's what that's what the guilt was, because even though you know that this person's gonna die, you don't take it seriously, you know. And when the person's gone, now you have no way to redeem yourself or say sorry or this and that. That's what the guilt was, you know. That holy shit, how do I talk to her, you know? Because like I'm saying, you know, I'm just a normal person, and so was she, and we're all normal people here, and I just did what I had to do at that moment.
So what was your inner strength that then started taking you to different places?
Yeah, definitely. I would say definitely the traveling and people reaching out to me, lending an ear, or just, you know, sending love my way, communicating, checking up on me, her friends, my family from all over the world. I mean, I think, you know, we always try to be independent here, right? Financial freedom, this, that. But we're all interdependent in this way. Like if I was alone, or if I didn't have that support, I don't think I think I'm still grieving in a different level right now, but I think the process of it, or the evolution of it, could have been much slower if I didn't have that, or if I didn't have the loved ones around me.
So you mentioned you've met someone, and let's talk about that. Congratulations. And
Oh, thank you.
Just listening to you, I can tell you that she's getting a gem of a person, because it takes
Definitely.
you know, very few guys to come on air and share this personal story, and the personal story of grief, and also to admit, like you said, wasn't the best boyfriend, wasn't the best fiance. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to say these things, and hats off to you. So
thank you. And
yes.
She's a lovely lady. I'm a lucky guy. She's also a gem. And a cool thing is when I met her at you know, at one of my friends' at reception parties, and she actually was working for hospice. You know, and hospice, for the people that don't know, hospice is when, you know, somebody is about to pass away, and, you know, they put you on hospice, right? Mm-hmm. So she was a hospice counselor or therapist, and that's just sort of like God sent, right? That she could understand what I was going through, and it was hard, but I was able to. I think even besides her career path, she just naturally that type of a person where she was able to accept me with open arms, and really, you know. But before I get into that, I want to mention something. You know, when this happened, I really protected my space, you know, in the beginning, like almost for a year and a half. I sort of I made sure that I was, you know, reading good things, hanging out with people that really genuinely loved me, that I felt good around. You know, I love taking like nature walks. That helped me a lot, where I was alone with my thoughts, and then I would journal. But I made sure that I didn't want to bounce into another relationship right away. Even though I had like flings, you know, that I was talking to somebody here in Toronto, and I went to go see her. Didn't work out, whatever. But I made sure that I guarded my space, you know, and maybe I was trying my best to do that, you know, and it was hard. But
so basically you kept yourself very positive, which is great, because I think in a situation like that, when you keep yourself positive, you know, you always gain.
Yes, yes.
So we have about 4 minutes before we wrap up. Karan, you know, with radio, you've been on radio shows too. So we have about 4 minutes before we wrap up. So I'd like you to, for all our listeners, if you could give them one piece of advice to create their own story. People out there that are hurting, who've been in a similar situation like you, whether it's a breakup or a loss of a loved one, a divorce, whatever it may be, a loss is a loss. People grieve in different ways. What would be your one message to all of them?
I would say self-care comes first to me when something like that happens. And trying to stay true with yourself, you know, before anybody else, you know, because you can't lie to yourself. So, and we all make mistakes. other thing I would say is, which I'm constantly working on a daily basis, and I feel like I'm still a baby in this department, is your responsibility, your ability to respond to a circumstance in a positive way, in a way that you know that maybe there's an opportunity lying after this. This is teaching me something. Changing your mindset in that manner, which, like I said, I'm constantly still learning today as I go, and as I get touched by other lives, and loving each other, because you really don't know, you know, how many seconds, minutes, days, years somebody has on this you know, rangli dunya, you know. So I think that is it. And I mean, and you know, who am I, right? And I think it's just sharing with each other, and communicating with, and just involving yourself with a lot of love. And I think we always want to like take sometimes. I'm talking about myself. Giving is equally important, you know. And sometimes I do the opposite, where I'm giving a lot, but then I'm not opening my arms to get love, you know. And especially when you're hurt and you have somebody that passed away, maybe that might be a significant other, somebody, you sort of close off. So trying to stay open where you can receive love from people, you know, and don't chase people that are not, that I would say, be with people that really genuinely love you. And so if someone's not giving you that energy, then protect your space.
Well, thank you so much. Kamal, would you like to say something really quickly in closing, and Sheena, before we wrap up the show?
Yes, I think you gave us very good pointers, and I think always in life, when you stay positive, I think you gain, and that's my motto. So stay positive.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And Sheena?
Mindset is always very important, and I definitely also believe in self-care. And thank you today for talking about therapy, because that is something that's not always spoken about. So thank you so much, Ginny, for being here today.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been an honor.
Absolutely, Karan. And for those who just tuned in, this is being live streamed on Facebook, and it'll be archived. You'll be able to watch it later. This is Karan Ginny Singh. He's actually from Fremont, and he shared his story with us today. And the one thing I would leave you with is, you know, every loss is treated in a different way. You manage it in a different way. But at the end of the day, please don't have this stigma that you cannot go and ask for help or go for grief counseling. There's absolutely nothing wrong with going for grief counseling. On that note, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Radio Zindagi. We're going to be here next week, next Thursday, same time, 7 o'clock. I said to you, it's a date. If you don't have a date during the week, then you have a date with Renu Auntie, Kamal Auntie, and Miss Sheena next week. And again, on that note, stay smiling and create your own story. If you haven't created one, we'll create it for you. Thank you again, Karan, and thank you, Radio Zindagi.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, listeners.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. So, all right, Mr. Kamal, I think we have like 30 seconds. Do you have any message for the listeners?
Oh, definitely. Look out for our Prem Connection, which we are looking for our website, which should be up and running towards the end of October, if not the first week in November. So look out for us. Here we come, lady. 2 aunties are coming to you.
2 aunties, double the advice. Absolutely. And thank you, Miss Ira, as always. Thank you so much.
Bye.